Hello class! How are you all doing? I hope that we are all doing okay, that we are healthy and safe. I purposely created this video for our Purposive communication class, so if you are watching this video, most likely you are part of my Com 101 class. Since our class is generally about communication, I have been observing how you communicate to your instructors, specifically through online and in written manner. I have been basing my observations on how you wrote your queries through Messenger and through email as well. I have also observed how you have written your sentences when you have submitted your answered modules. So this video would be a general comment to what you have been writing for the past 3 weeks or so since the school year has started. First, let me remind you of our context of where we are, because you might have forgotten it since physically you are at home. Okay? Class, we are in an academe. So generally, most of the time we are going to communicate how? In a formal or informal manner. Obviously, we are going to communicate formally. And by formally, we mean that there are rules that need to be followed. And I'm sure you know these rules, but maybe one way or the other, you might have forgotten about them, or you might have overlooked some of them, or maybe you just got too lazy to double check your written message or output. However, class, I believe that these are just excuses. So I feel very much obliged to remind you of these rules so that you would not be able to repeat it again, and you would be able to have some guidelines on how you are going to review your messages and outputs before turning them to your professors or instructors. Okay, but before we go specifically to your written messages, let us check your profile pictures in your Google Classroom. Check the picture that you have uploaded. Do you think your picture is appropriate for academic purposes? What I mean by this is the picture that you should be using in your Google Classroom should be like the picture that you are going to use in your resume, or the picture should be like your 2x2 ID picture taken in a photo studio. It should not be like the picture that you use in your social media accounts. Let me use my profile picture as an example here. This was not my profile picture at first, but I changed it. It may not be the most beautiful or the most glorifying picture, but it is real. If you're going to meet me outside without wearing a surgical mask, then you would be able to identify me as your instructor. However, I might not identify you as my student, if your profile picture in Google Classroom is too glamorous than what it really is in reality. So go ahead and make those profile pictures as real and as professional as possible. And for those who have not posted their pictures yet, you better do it now, or else I will subtract 2 points directly from your prelim grade and your midterm grade if you still have not yet posted a picture of you by that time. Okay? Next, when it comes to your name in Google Classroom, I have no problem about it so far because you have indicated your complete names. You have there your first name, your middle name, and your surname. However, please remove the unnecessary characters that you have included in your name. Those unnecessary characters will make your name look like these. And it does not look good at all. So go ahead and edit your names, please. One more thing with regard your names, I know that Messenger and Facebook would take 60 days to approve a change of name. But if you are going to communicate to me and to your other instructors as well through Facebook or Messenger, please apply for a name change already, especially if you have registered an alien and an incomplete name. If you do not want to do so, then create another Messenger account that contains your real and full name. Then use that account whenever you are going to communicate with me or your other instructors. Class, I am right now handling 2 courses and I have roughly 400 and more students. So can you just imagine the confusion if I am going to record your individual scores or to send you a message or feedback and I cannot even identify properly who you are? You can just imagine me wondering if you are my student or not. If your name is, let's say for example, like King, but your real name is Linely Agago, G. Ocampo, but your real name is Jillian Tigno, Skyla D, but your real name is Sheila Bastino. Okay? Please do not use only your first name as well, like Princess May. Include your family name so it would be complete, making it Princess May Ignacio. So that's a complete one. So please apply for a change of name right now if you are going to use Messenger to communicate with me or to send your answered modules. Another thing as well with regard names, and I cannot believe I am still telling this one to you. Please write your names on any documents that you are going to submit. Just like in a regular classroom. Okay? You write your name on the upper left part of your paper, and you might as well include your course and year and section below it, just like this as an example. So you see, very appropriate. You have your name and course and year for easier identification and recording. I really cannot believe some of you just sent your answered modules without your name written on it. Okay? So that is with regard your proper, appropriate, and professional identification. Now let's go to how you are going to send a message through email. I will show you my phone screen so you would be able to see the different parts of an email. So as you can see on your screen, we have the different parts of an email. So how are you going to fill in these parts professionally? First, take a look at your own email address. The email address that you should be using must not be your personal email address. Any academic transaction that you do should be linked to the school that you are enrolled in since and since you are enrolled in PCC, please make sure that your email address is your ID number at pcc.edu.ph. And as you can see, my email address is not at gmail.com or at yahoo.com. It's at pcc.edu.ph. Okay. The next part of your email is the receiver. So again, double check if that ends with at pcc.edu.ph. So let's have, for example, 04779 at pcc.edu.ph. Okay, so double check again that it ends with at pcc.edu.ph. Double check the spelling and underscore or any special character that should be present on your receiver's email address. There was this one time when a student sent me a message on Messenger double checking if I received her first answered module, and I said I did not. So we have exchanged messages trying to solve the problem, and we found out that she did not put the underscore in my email address. And there was also this one time where I was sending an invite to a student and I misspelled PH to PJ. So technically, the student wasn't able to receive his invite. It's a good thing he was able to send me a message through Messenger, so I double checked and I found out that it was my fault. I misspelled his email address. So class, please double check. Email addresses are character sensitive, so just a tiny dot that is missing, then your email will not be sent. Next, we have the subject or the subject line. And a lot of you are neglecting this part, but professionally and technically, this should be filled in. So let's put here, for example, module 1. Learning activities and assessment. Okay, So there you go. You already have a subject line. So next is your composition. And just like a letter, it should start with your salutation. So let's have here dear, so my bad. Dear Miss Domingo. So, Miss Domingo, comma, or colon. But since we are emphasizing formality and professionalism, I would use colon. Okay? Anyway, one difference between a personal letter and business letter is the colon and comma. Comma is used for personal letters and colon is used for business letters. Okay? So, if you are again to look at your salutation, you have here the word dear, title, which is Miss, and the family name of your receiver. Okay. And however, just a bit of an exception on my part as your instructor, because when I have sent you your feedback on your first module, I used your first name and I did not use a colon, I used a comma. This is because I do not want you to feel too distant from me. Using your first names on my emails to you guys would lessen the rigidity of formal communication, and I do not want you to feel too rigid towards me. Okay, so I have used your first names, not your family name, and I have used comma, not colon. Okay, so next, after your salutation, you have your greetings. And this is optional. You may do away with this one and proceed immediately to introducing who you are. Okay, but if we are going to have your greetings, let's say for example, we are going to write good day, ma'am. Okay, so there you go. And after your greetings, it would be followed by your short self introduction, which is very important. So, let's say, for example, I am Rio Angeline Reyes, your BSN one section 3 student under the course biochemistry. So that's your brief self-introduction, which is again very important. So do not forget to introduce yourself first before anything else. Sorry, let's check the spelling of your name. Rio Angeline. Okay. Next, you proceed immediately to why you are sending your instructor an email. So, for example, I am writing this email to submit to you my first answered module on our biochemistry course. Attached to this email are my learning activities and assessment. Period. Okay, so that's it. Simple and direct to the point message. So after your message would be your closing. So we can just write here, thank you, ma'am. Period. Or just thank you. It depends on you. So after your closing, then you can already sign your name. Okay. Let's sign your name. Rio Angeline, for example. Okay. So there you go. Your name is already signed. And you may now proceed attaching your attachments if you have. So there you go with the basic contents of your email. Okay, but first let's give spaces to each paragraph so you would be able to see the different contents of the email. So we have here again your email address as the sender, then the email address of the receiver. You have here your subject line, you have your salutation, your greetings, your short self-introduction, then the reason why you are writing an email, and then you have your closing, and then you have your signature or your name. Okay, so there you go with the basic contents of your email. Simple, direct to the point, professional, and formal. Okay? So that is for your email, and the same goes to sending a message through Messenger. So just like the same with email, let us go to my Messenger screen so you can see an example as well. Okay, so let's use this Messenger account that has long way been deactivated. I don't know, maybe. Okay, so just like in your email, you would also have to write there your salutation. So let's write dear, the caps lock, dear Miss Domingo. Okay, if you want, you can use comma or colon, but I will be using colon here. Okay, so space, tab, I mean. Okay, so after your salutation, we will go to your greetings. And again, this is optional. You may do away with it and just proceed immediately to your self-introduction. So let's say good afternoon, ma'am. you want, you can use a period or an exclamation point. Okay, so again, go to your self-introduction. Okay, so self-introduction again, which is very important. So I am Rio Angeline Reyes, your BSN 1 Section 3 student under the course Biochemistry. So, okay, again, your brief introduction and the reason why you are writing. I am writing this to submit to you my first answered module on our biochemistry course. Attached to this are my learning activities and assessment. So again, that's it. Simple again, direct to the point. And after your message, you can write your closing and then say thank you, ma'am. And then your name, Rio Angeline. Okay, so that's it. Let's send. Okay, so that is how your message would look like. Okay, again, simple, direct to the point, professional, and formal. So please follow these protocols, whether in your email or in your messenger. Okay, so take note of the different parts of your message. Okay, so there you go. So those are the different parts of a message that you are going to send to your instructor. Remember again that we are in an academe, so we should communicate formally and professionally, even on Messenger. If you are Facebook friends with your instructor, that does not already mean that you can communicate with him or her informally, especially if the communication is about school or academic matters. Okay? Okay. Next, let's talk about the language that you are going to use. Most of you sent me your queries using Filipino language, and I replied in English. Then you replied again in Filipino. Just to make it clear, I am implementing, starting today, which is Wednesday, September 23, the EOP rule. EOP means English Only Policy. And this is for you to practice using the said language. This is also for you to train yourself to think in English. So if you are going to send me a message, it better be in English, or else I would not reply to your message. Am I clear? Okay. Well, we are already outranked by our neighboring Asian countries in terms of English proficiency, which is very much ironic because we have been exposed to the English language far longer than them. It's about time that we increase more our English proficiency. And the best way to do that is to practice, and you have me to practice with. So do not lose that opportunity. Communicate with me in English. Anyway, most of you would also want to practice their profession abroad, especially my nursing students. So it is a must that you get comfortable communicating in English. So is my EOP rule clear? Okay? Yeah. Okay, now let's go to other reminders in relation to how you write. These reminders are basic. And again, you know them already for sure. I just want to emphasize these because they are mistakes that should not be done by someone who already finished his or her senior high school. Class, just in case you forgot, you are already in college and it's about time you write like one. And first, observe capitalization. I am sure that your English teachers before have told you that the pronoun I should be capitalized. But take a look at this one. Speaking of capitalization, take a look at also this answer by one of you. Really, this is not a text message. It is your academic output. So please observe the rules of capitalization. Okay. Another thing that I want you to take a look at is this another answer also by one of you. Class, I am already giving you a fair warning to edit your output and to be very careful with your grammar. At least observe the basic grammar rules. Why? Because if you have a lot of grammar mistakes, then your sentences might end up ambiguous. I may not understand at all what you mean, and if that happens, then, what kind of score do you expect me to give you? The lesson here is before submitting your output, read it very well. Review it, and you can even let other people read your output. Maybe they will be able to help you in editing it. Okay? What else? One last thing, and this is with regard the tone of your message. One question that you were tasked to answer on your first module is, how are you going to communicate with someone who is older and who has more experience than you? And most of you actually wrote the correct answer of being respectful, polite, being patient, and learning to listen first. However, let us review how you have sent a message. Okay? Check out these messages from some of you. Now, put yourself into your instructor's shoes. How would you perceive the message? Is it even polite? Is it respectful? You know, class, even if you put smiley faces in your messages, and even if you use po a lot of times, if you still sound demanding, then it is useless. So please, once again, follow the protocol on how to write a message to your instructors using your email or your messenger. Okay, and one tip for you to sound polite, please avoid using the modal verb can. Use may instead. For example, it is more polite to say, may I submit my output late, rather than, can I submit my output late? Okay, so I think that's it. There you go. Those are my general comments on how we have been communicating so far. I hope I am able to give you a lesson or two. Please observe what I have mentioned in this video, and class, stay home and stay safe. Take care always and be healthy.